Scantily Clad in the Kitchen. My name is Diva LaVida, and my fabulous guest this time is...
I'm Florence of A'Labia.
Hey! So excited to have you here.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here. I love cooking shows, and I always wanted to be on one, so this is going to be great.
Dreams are coming true.
Yes.
Excellent. So what are we making today?
We are making apple chicken pie, which is something that I came up with when I only had one pie crust and I couldn't decide between making an apple pie or a chicken pot pie.
Really?
So I just put it all into one crust, and then it was amazing and delicious, and yeah, it's been winning like county fair pie making contests across the country.
Wow.
So I haven't submitted it into, I put the recipe online and people have made it, and they said that they like have been winning pie competitions.
This is an award-winning recipe.
This is an award-winning recipe right here.
Oh my goodness.
So yes, so I'm going to make it, and so you're a vegetarian, so we're actually going to be making two versions, one with real chicken and one with the soy chicken.
Fake chicken.
Yes,
The
chicken, which I've been wanting to try for a while, so hopefully it turns out it should turn out. We're gonna put so much butter in this pie that like it's gonna taste good no matter what. So speaking of butter, yeah, first we're gonna make the short crust, which is just a very simple, easy pie crust.
I'm already impressed that we're going to make a crust.
Yeah. So first we're just gonna cut up some butter into a bunch of small chunks.
A full stick
of butter. The recipe is online if you look up apple chicken pie. Also, like, I put it in this smutty comic book called Food Porn.
Ooh!
So when I'm not being a burlesque dancer, I am being a smutty comic book artist. And so I did... I've done several smutty comics about food. One called Food Porn and one called Eat Me. And yeah, Food Porn is a collection of short stories, so there's a bunch of my friends have stories in there too. And yeah, so it's all smutty stories about food. And so my short story was actually about two people who get stoned and make an apple chicken pie and then end up getting frisky with each other. Which is not, I definitely, there was no sex involved when I created this pie initially.
But that came later.
But there definitely was some getting stoned. Like, this is definitely the kind of recipe that you come up with when you are very stoned and very hungry and you can't decide between which kind of pie. Yeah, so you just look in your fridge and you see what you have and you put it all into one pie crust and you bake it, and This is how beautiful things get made. Yeah, like, food and sex are my two main joys in life, so yeah, I'm constantly combining them. So we've got our butter kind of cut up into little pieces.
That's good.
And we're going to add 2 cups of flour.
I also appreciate that the butter cutlery was not an exact science.
Oh, yeah.
So far, I'm on board. I can do this at home. Feel good about it.
I'm an artist, not a scientist. So, like, this is like as science-y as I get in the kitchen. Is like, baking, you do have to a little bit pay attention to like proportions, and you have to measure things. The rest of the pie is just a lot of like, this looks like a good amount, that looks like a good amount. So we're gonna just kind of combine the flour and the butter again.
We're going for sort of a crumbly texture.
Yes. This is the hardest part of making the pie. I don't have to go to the gym. I just do this. I just mash cold
real
butter
strong on this right side.
Totally. Yeah. The left side is all atrophy, but the right side, just from mashing butter into flour.
Very strong. You're working hard.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
But actually, we can start to kind of get the hands
in
in there. All right, so we've got it nice and crumbly.
Looks good.
Butter and flour is all incorporated.
It smells good too. It
Yeah,
smells like it's straight butter, and I'm just like, that
Yeah,
smells delicious.
I know.
Already.
If you talk to like a professional fancy chef and you say like, what's the secret ingredient? They always say, oh, I'm not going to tell you. And really the reason they're not going to tell you is because it's just straight up butter. People get scared of how much, like if they find out how much butter is in something, they get a little scared. But really, like 9 times out of 10, the secret ingredient is just lots of butter. So yeah, this is just flour and butter, and it already smells really good. We're doubling the recipe, so we're going to do a full teaspoon of salt, and you want to measure it not over your bowl. So if you accidentally dump it. It's okay.
See, I feel like I do that all the time.
And then we want to do a few tablespoons of water. It's supposed to be like 2 to 3 per batch, and we're doing 2 batches. So I'm going to put 4 in there and see how the consistency goes, and then add a little bit more. And you want to use ice water because it helps keep the butter cold and keep it from melting.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's important for the butter. You don't want room temperature butter, you want cold butter.
Yeah, you want cold butter, cold water. It just keeps the butter set and keeps it from getting, once it melts, it kind of ruins the texture a little bit.
That's a solid ball.
Yes.
Of dough.
Yep. So yeah, we definitely have enough for 2 pies. Yeah, we're gonna try and roll the crust very thin. We're gonna chill that for at least half an hour. Like ideally you would want to chill it like overnight, but yeah, I found like half an hour, that's a good amount, like to still get good results. So yeah, most of the time when I make this, I'm just using like dried minced onion and garlic powder. So the fact that we've got like real onions and real garlic is like a special treat for me today. So yeah, so usually I don't have to worry too much about chopping everything ahead of time because it's just like pre-chopped in a jar. I mean, this pie is definitely intended for like you're sitting there and you're like, I want something delicious, and I'm just going to look in my fridge and throw all the garbage into a crust. So that's really the mentality.
I have not been to a grocery store in 5 days.
Yeah,
What
exactly. So yeah, we're gonna chop some onion. And I am definitely not the kind of chef that's like taken knife skills classes, so you get to watch me awkwardly chop this.
That's okay.
But
I'm also one of those people who's just like,
I'm just like, let's get it into smaller chunks of some sort. This is not the pie where you want to like bite into a really big piece of onion. All right.
Yeah, see, this is the kind of chopping that I am definitely bored with. Like, all hands are out of the way, and the food is getting chopped.
Yes. I definitely, like, it's fun to watch, like, a real chef do real fancy things on a cooking show, but it can be really hard to replicate at home, so I definitely want, like, the average person to be able to make stuff.
Make award-winning pie!
Yes!
This is award-winning pie skills right here.
I am going to just put this measuring cup. So, set aside our onions.
And this would be enough for both pies?
Yes. Great. Yeah, this is plenty. Like it'll shrink down a little bit in cooking, but that's good.
I've only just now got like that onion fume in the face.
Whew. 2 apples should be enough, although we're doing 2 pies, so we'll want to chop all 3 apples that we bought. I always buy 3 apples per pie just in case, and then I find that there's just so much filling that you can't put more than like an apple and a half in each one, so this will be a perfect amount.
Let's work it out.
And I never remember to peel my apples before I put them into pies. I kind of
supposed to? Is that a thing?
I think that's a thing that you're supposed to do, but yeah, like you saw me chop onions, so that's the kind of cook that I am. I'm just like,
it's like I thought all the flavor was in the peel.
Yeah, I love like potato peels, and I don't know. I eat like a raccoon, I guess. So like, yeah, we're gonna serve these in old tuna cans.
It's gonna be delicious.
Yeah.
It adds a little something.
Exactly. We're just gonna put like some fish bones in there. You'll see those sticking out. Yeah. So, and yeah, I don't chop anything like evenly. It really is a garbage pie, but it's an award-winning garbage pie.
God damn it.
We do want to get those apple seeds out since they are full of cyanide.
Are they really?
Yeah, apple seeds are full of cyanide. You have to eat a lot of apple seeds before you like die of cyanide poisoning.
I didn't know that was
a thing. Oh yes, apple seeds have cyanide in them. I don't know how many you have to eat, but we're not gonna test that on the show. I promise not to burn this place down. I promise not to kill you with cyanide poisoning.
I appreciate that. Is it at all important for these apple pieces to be relatively the same size-ish?
Ish, yeah, just so that they all cook at a consistent ish kind of rate.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of enjoy having like a difference of textures where like some of these apples are still on the crisp side and some are really soft. So I'm not super concerned with making sure that they are all exactly the same texture.
This is a real like weeknight sort of meal.
Yeah, oh yeah. This is, although a lot of people have written to me saying, like, I made this for Thanksgiving, or like, this is my new, like, Christmas Eve tradition, so you can get fancy with it. Some people say that they've tried making it healthy by, like, putting in less butter and adding vegetables, and I'm like, that's blasphemy, and...
That is now a different pie.
Yeah, that's a different pie. That is not my pie. Don't go telling people that's my pie. My pie has, like, a whole pound of butter and no vegetables except for the onions. So, yeah, this is mental health food. This will make you happy, but this is not heart healthy. I'm sorry. But you have to make your brain healthy too. So that includes eating delicious food sometimes. All right. All the apples done.
Success!
Okay. So we're past the science part where we actually have to measure stuff, and now we get to be like, how much garlic do we want in there? Like, are we going to be kissing anybody soon? Like, so, yeah, I'm thinking maybe like, so we're making 2. Mm-hmm. I think like 5 cloves of garlic is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, squish them, peel them.
I'm consistently surprised at how many people do not understand you can just squish the garlic and then it just poof, comes right out. I've had multiple various roommates and what have you across the years who are just like, what are you doing? Like, this is how you get the garlic out. This is where the good stuff is.
It really is life-changing once you learn that trick. You're just like, oh, that's all it takes. Is just, you crush it a little bit and then its clothes just fall off. Yeah. Or less garlic. Garlic's getting scantily clad too. Yeah. Mince it up. And yeah, this will work with, using dried onion and garlic powder, but it definitely is more tantalizing when you can get it fresh. Fresh garlic is one of the greatest joys in life.
It makes me so happy.
We're gonna cook the chicken. And I saved this for last just because you want to cut your vegetables before you cut your raw meats. I think 1 chicken breast is actually good for a pie.
For 1 pie?
Yeah, and since we're making 2 pies, and with the other one we'll have the fake chicken. So we want fairly small chunks of chicken.
Would you say these are roughly the same size as our apple pieces?
Yes, yep. We want a sort of consistent shape of bite. And the pie does fill up surprisingly fast. Like, there's so many things that go into it that, you look at your ingredients and you're like, is that going to be enough? And then you start filling the pie and you're like, wow, this pie is, like, spilling over.
With delicious things.
Yes. It is 10 pounds of pie in a 5-pound crust, so... So we're done with the cutting, so we can switch from drinking tea to drinking wine.
Hooray!
Still in the same cup, but because we're making garbage pie, so we're drinking our wine out of coffee mugs, and that's how we do. So
it's 1 less glass to clean.
Exactly, and that's part of it. We're cooking everything in butter. Yep. We do use a whole pound of butter in this recipe. So.
Yeah, when you told me to get this much butter, I was like, what are you... And nope.
No, I wasn't joking. I
should have known.
Yeah.
I was a fool to doubt you.
So I think what we'll do is we'll actually cook the fake chicken in here.
Okay.
So that we can transfer some of the onions and garlic into there. And then I'll put the real chicken in with the onions and garlic.
I like it.
So we're really cooking 2 recipes at once right now. So
get a little more bang for your buck today.
Yes. I really have always wanted to do a vegetarian version of this because I have a lot of vegetarian friends, and this is one of those pies that really lets me tell people who I am. And it's just like, eat this pie and you'll understand me. Aww. And so I've always wanted to come up with a vegetarian version so that I could present it to my vegetarian friends. Because, like, sharing food is love to me. So, yeah, so I'm excited to have this new version. So we want to cook the onions first. And, like, somehow you got some onions that were not very tear-inducing. Like,
I don't know how that happened.
I really did worry my makeup was just going to be, like, pouring down my face.
I sometimes worry that someday we'll cook something here and just an eyelash will fall off.
That's just extra seasoning.
That's right. Just trying to keep the butter moving.
Alright. So, yeah, we're going to cut up the chicken into some smaller pieces.
The smell of butter and onion is like, why isn't that a perfume yet?
I always wonder, like, why is it that, like, apples smell or, like, tangerine smell is okay for a perfume, but why not butter and onions? Like, why can't I have a cheeseburger perfume?
Yes.
Like, pizza perfume. Oh. Everyone would be your friend if you wore pizza perfume.
All the dogs in the neighborhood would love me.
Yeah, I don't understand why, like, sweet fruit is the only food acceptable for perfumes. Let me decide if I want to smell like meat or butter or onions. Alright, so we're getting some nice golden brown on the onions.
Have you ever tried to make this with olive oil instead of butter?
That's blasphemy.
Good to know.
Like, the butter flavor is so important. Like, yeah, this is pre-cooked, but we just want to get butter flavor in there. That's...
Sorry, vegans.
Yeah.
Not for you.
I actually, vegan butter isn't too bad.
Yeah.
I kind of like vegan butter, but the problem is we're going to add brie into this, and vegan brie is gross. I've had some vegan brie.
I didn't know there was vegan brie.
I've had some that tasted okay, but it didn't taste anything like brie.
Yeah.
And the texture is not quite the same. So that cheese is really such an important element, which is what keeps it from being having vegan potential. All right.
I will say there are some vegan cheeses that are excellent.
Oh yeah, I just don't think they taste like cheese.
No,
they taste like something different. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just like fatty and yummy and yum.
Yes. And I think if they didn't call it cheese, I would have a higher opinion of it.
Be way more on board.
Yeah. Like, just say, like, this is my weird nut curd. And I would be like, yes, I'm on board with the weird nut curd. But when they say this is cheese, I say, you are wrong empirically. Alright, so we've added the garlic now. And you don't want to add the onion and garlic at the same time because the garlic will burn faster than the onion will soften.
Okay.
So,
I feel like I've been making that mistake my whole life.
Yep, yeah, you want to add your garlic later.
Okay.
Because we cut the chicken up into small pieces, should cook pretty fast.
So you want the chicken to be fully cooked through before we put it in the pot?
Yes. But we don't want it to be overly cooked and dry. And we want it to cook before the onion and garlic starts to burn, so we're going to add some dried oregano. Infuse with each other. The butter is full of onion and garlic. Getting into that chicken.
This smells amazing, you guys.
One of the great tragedies of my relationship is that my girlfriend can't eat butter and I can't eat bacon. Oh, no. So we are severely limited on our cooking fats.
Well, that proves that you must really like each other.
Yes, exactly, yes.
It's like, turns out not a deal breaker this
Yes, time. I will eat vegan butter for you. That is true love.
That's how you know.
All right. So we've got our chicken cooked. That looks pretty cooked too. We want to save all of the butter too, all that melty butter. Make sure it gets in.
Now, would you ever just let this continue to sit in the pan while we do other stuff, or is it important to put it into another?
Oh yeah, usually I would just leave it in the pan, but just because we're limited for space.
We're going to use this space.
Yeah.
I see.
All right, cool. So we set that aside. And we want it to be a little bit cool anyways, because when we go to assemble it, like I usually just use my hands and dump it in there, and I don't want it to be too hot or I will burn my fingers. And so far our finger count, we've still got, I've got all 10, you've got all 10. We're doing good. Okay, so now we are going to roll out our dough, and you can feel it's a lot firmer than...
That is a rock hard.
Yeah.
It's not rock hard, but it's...
Yeah, we don't want it to be rock hard, because we do want it somewhat malleable. So, honestly, most of the time when I make this pie, I'm just, like, pressing it down with my fingers, because I don't have a rolling pin. Sometimes I will use a wine bottle. But since we have a rolling pin, we might as well use it. So
if someone doesn't have a rolling pin at home, it's totally possible to do this.
Honestly, and actually I
gotta
if necessary. Do this in half because we want to set aside some to be the lid of the pie crust because it's sort of an enclosed pie.
Making looks so easy.
This is so much harder than like watching Great British Bake Off and you're like, I could do that. Like, how do they not know how to make a petit four? And then you try making it at home and you're like, oh my god, this is so hard. I'm just trying to make like banana bread. I think banana bread is the first thing I ever baked. Yeah. My mom made banana bread constantly when I was a kid. And that was another, like, garbage recipe. It was like, use old bananas, use sour milk, like, use all of the ingredients that have gone bad. It is amazing how many foods humans have invented based on, like, I have this food, and now it's rotten, but let's see if it can still be food. Like, cheese was originally like, oh, this milk has gone bad, but I'm hungry, so I'm gonna eat it anyways. And that's how we get some really good eaten.
And that stuff turned out to be delicious.
Yeah, exactly. I think the person who first ate cheese, like who was the first person to be like, I'm going for it. I'm going to eat this spoiled milk. I think they're a hero. I think...
Their name lost to history.
I know! Like, they really deserve to be worshipped for being the first person to bring cheese to humanity. So long as there is dough all the way around, I am satisfied. It's a pie for eating, not for looking at.
That's right.
So...
And this is the bottom of the pie. Who's going to see that?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You just want to make sure that there's no holes in the crust. Okay. Because the filling is definitely... I mean, there's a lot of butter in this. And there's melty cheese and just all kinds of things that can be ooey gooey and drip down in there. So we want to make sure that it is contained.
So far, so good. I feel like I could make this on my own if necessary.
Yeah. Like, and if you get a store-bought crust, then you just, like, buy it, and step one, you have a pie crust. Yeah. But I had so many people calling me out over this recipe. They were like, the recipe is really great, but, like, store-bought pie crust?
What?
And, like, I was like, all right, I'm going to start making my own pie crust, I guess. But, honestly... most of the time that I've made this, I've been like, I don't have time to actually make a crust, so I'm just going to buy one. But there, we've got a pie crust, and look at that. And it took like 10 times as long as just buying a ready-made pie crust. But we get to say that we made it. So now when we put it down on the Christmas table, we can say like, I made 100% of this pie instead of 95% of this pie. And so we're going to make the top crust.
So for this top crust, is this another one that if you don't have a rolling pin or a wine bottle handy, you just sort of mush it out together?
A lot of times I will just take like chunks of dough and throw it on top. Sometimes I end up doing sort of lattice work on the top just because it's just taking a bunch of like thin strips and sort of braiding it together on top. Mostly because I'm not good at rolling out a pie crust into a round shape, as we can see. So, yeah.
This is round-ish.
We just want some thin dough that we can...
lay on top of.
Yes. Pie crust for you.
Thank you.
Pie crust for me. Here is your chicken. And my chicken. And the apples. Oh, we need to cut up some brie.
Oh, the cheese!
Yes, we need the cheese. So I find that this recipe actually works best with really cheap brie.
Okay.
I once used really nice brie because I worked at a cheese shop and I got like really fancy cheese all the time, and it just evaporated. Like, I made the pie, put really swanky cheese inside, I cut it open, and there was no cheese. Because really good cheese is actually mostly like a whisper of a dream, and it's ephemeral, and...
You're just sort of imagining the
yes,
delicious food.
it's like, it just sort of hacks your brain into thinking that there's actually something angelic there.
Sneaky.
And so if you're making just one batch, you would use half of this, but since we're making 2, we are each going to put half a wheel of brie in there. And again, we're cutting it up into like bite-sized chunks.
Ooh.
And I added brie in there because I was thinking like, brie does go really well with chicken, and brie does go really well with apples, so it kind of ties everything together. And then one final thing before we assemble it all is we want to make our cinnamon sugar mixture for the apples. And once again, we're just improvising, so we're just gonna take some sugar, some amount. That looks good. Yeah. And then we've got nutmeg, cinnamon, and allspice. So sometimes you can just buy this all mixed up as just like apple pie seasoning or apple pie spice. And mix that around.
It smells like It smells like the holidays.
Yes, so before we had all those butter and onion smells, and now we have the cinnamon and sugar and cloves and all of that good stuff. So that should be enough. All right, so first we are going to put a layer of apples in the bottom. Okay. Like one thin layer. And you do get surprised at how fast this pie crust fills up. We've got our layer of apples. Yes. Then we're just going to sprinkle a little bit of our cinnamon sugar mixture on there. And then we're going to cut up some chunks of butter. Yeah. And we're just going to put some butter chunks right there on top of the apples.
Do you know what this needs? More butter.
Yep, exactly. I said we were going to use this full pound of butter, and we're going to use this full pound of butter.
I don't know why I keep disbelieving you.
No,
but
I don't joke around when it comes to butter. Again, the secret ingredient in everything tasty is just more butter.
Straight up butter.
Yeah. And then we want to put a few chunks of brie in there.
So all of this cheese is going into one.
Yep, all of that cheese is going to be used up. All of the butter is going to be used up. Yes, and so we're going to do 2 layers of brie.
So I shouldn't put it all in at once.
Yeah, not all in at once, because we are going to put more in. Okay. All right, and then we put some chicken in there. And yes, we're going to do basically 2 layers of each thing, so put half of the chicken in on this layer. And I saved all that melty butter.
It smells so good.
Yeah. All right, so then another layer of apples.
All right. Is this when we finish off the apples?
Yeah, so we can. I think we might have more apples than we need, but yeah, so we can go nuts with the apples. And I used Fuji apples for this. Sometimes I use Gala, sometimes I use Braeburn. Just good baking apples that aren't going to get too soggy in there. All right, and so then we need more cinnamon and sugar and all those good spices, so we can use up the rest of this.
So what else are we going to use it for?
Yep. It's one of those rare recipes that uses like cinnamon and sugar and also onion and garlic and oregano. But it works. And then, more chunks of butter.
Don't forget the butter.
Don't forget the butter. Because it's going to melt and drip down and it's going to make everything all juicy. This is not physical health food. This is mental health food. Oh, we're going to use all this butter.
We're using all the butter.
We're using it all. We might as well, like, who wants to take home just like a pat of butter? So, yeah, we're putting it in that pie. Excellent. There's all that butter. Now we're going to add more cheese.
Finish off the cheese.
Yep, finish off the cheese. And then the rest of our chicken layer. I think I did put too much chicken on my first chicken layer. So
I think I did the same thing too.
But I mean, it's all in there.
Yeah.
It's all in there.
That's what's important.
Yes. So then we get to take our other pie crust and kind of put it on the top in some fashion. And yeah, like I said,
So it isn't super important that it cover the entire thing.
Yeah,
But it should
like
just be on there.
Yeah, I try and enclose like as much as possible, but
so if someone wanted to do fancy lattice,
oh, totally,
it would still be fine.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So we have our pies.
We did it.
And I am going to actually mark mine just so that we know which one is the real chicken.
X marks the real chicken.
Yes. All right. And so we preheated our oven to 350 degrees. We're going to put these in for an hour, and then we're going to have pies.
Yay!
Aww. All right. Let's get those pies out.
Oh my goodness. They're all like bubbly and fragrant and golden brown.
Yes. The most difficult part of this recipe is just waiting for them to cool now.
Oh, how long do you usually wait?
Well, at the very least, until it's no longer visibly boiling. So
decrease the chances of us burning all of our insides.
Yes. Because once your esophagus fuses shut, you don't get to eat this again.
Oh.
So, and you'll probably want to eat it again and again. So, yeah. Yep. So yeah, I guess we take a break again for like 10 minutes or so while this cools.
We promise not to eat all of it while you're gone.
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't hold its shape very well. Like, this is not like a slice of pie you would see like in a diner, like all picturesque. Like, it's a little bit of a mess, but
it smells really good.
Yeah, it's super delicious.
Can't wait. There's a nice flakiness to this topping. Well, thanks for making me delicious pie.
Oh, yes.
I'm so excited about this.
I like the baked chicken.
Those came out good.
Honestly, like I ate a bite of the real chicken and then a bite of the baked chicken, and it's really close.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to give my stamp of approval on altering this recipe to include chicken. Yay! So yeah, it's pretty close, and I'm gonna say that it captures the spirit of the. I mean, the spirit is mostly in the 4 sticks of butter that you use. So yeah. Yep, dinner and dessert all in one.
I made this all winter long. It's like super savory, but there's a little sweetness here and there. If you enjoy an apple pie, I think you're gonna like this.
So yeah, you can usually eat like 1.5 slices of this before you're like, I need to go sleep for 3 days.
Oh no. Well, we're definitely gonna eat our 1.5 slices. Our friends hiding behind the camera are going to have 1.5 slices. And everybody out there, you also have 1.5 slices of this, and then let us know how yours turned out. Don't vary from the recipe at all, because Florence will be real mad.
Don't put carrots in it.
So don't do that.
I'll come find you.
This is the way it needs to be done. It is delicious. So, Florence, please tell people how they can find you on the internet.
You can look up Florence of A'Labia. I also do comics under Rosalarian. And also, I have made several smutty comic books about food and porn, and one of them actually has the recipe in it. So if you find the food porn smutty comic book, then you will have the recipe to follow along with, and also a bunch of porn to read. So, yeah.
And one step,
yes,
boom.
As I like to say when I sell the food porn, bon appetit.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that joke never gets old.
Well, have fun out there, everybody. We'll see you next time.